Hello everyone, my name is Uthris and welcome to Going Medieval. I was lucky enough to get a hold of a beta build of this game. I saw it on Steam and some other videos on YouTube on it, and it looked pretty interesting, so I wanted to hop in and try my hand at building in this type of game here. So the best way that I can easily introduce you guys to this game is to kind of compare it. I don't like to directly compare games next to each other. It's not really productive. But if you know Rome World, if you know Timber and Stone, if you know Stonehearth, kind of think about that. It's a city management. You start out with a small group, and you hopefully grow over time and you build. So I did play a little bit before recording this, just to kind of get my head around all the menus, and we're just gonna kind of hop into a new game. We're gonna make a village. We're gonna go ahead and call it Aldford. That's fine. You can edit the banner, and there's a lot you can do, from background color to layering symbols across, and even the color, and even transform them, like rotate them. I think that's a really cool system. I like that a lot. More games kind of need that heraldry. You know, give your town an icon, a mascot, something to uniform or unite the citizens. Map type Valley is the only option right now. Default's the only option for map size. Standard or builder, I'm assuming one sandbox and one standard. I'll just randomize a seed here and we'll go next. This here is our first 3 citizens that we're going to have. There's a lot of skills in the game. There's a lot, you know, and all these dictate how well each person's going to do. The little star basically says they're passionate and they get 50% more XP. I think you can get double star and get 2 times more XP. So obviously getting a very passionate person into an important field might be important for you guys. You can kind of randomize them again if you don't like their starting skills in that way. Like this person, passionate in 3, melee, mining, and speechcraft. I think that's okay. There. I wouldn't mind randomizing until we get 3 or 4. Oh, wow, okay. So we get more speechcraft, medicine, culinary, botany. So this person might end up being more of a cook, right? Sowing seeds, growing seeds, and cooking could be their thing. They also start with base ranks in these, which is pretty good. Medicine. The double stars too, if you look at group skills, you can see kind of what you're covering at the moment. Let's see if we get another 4. I don't know if I need another speechcraft person. Let's be honest. There we go. That guy is really strong when it comes to how quick he can learn here. Construction, marksman, mining, tailoring. Pretty good. He's got minus 10% hit point recovery. There's also some negative stuff that can pop up, or positive things. So, you know, he's contemplative. Henrik here, busy bee, industrious, movement speed slower, move targets fine, movement speed. So my guys are going to be a little bit slower, but that's okay. That's okay. Some of these pictures are a little weird and they don't really match up, but again, it's beta. These probably just placeholder type things, you know? Yeah, it just doesn't really match anything. So let's go to next and we'll hop into the actual game. So we'll hop into Aldford. You get a nice little quote, just a little bit of a backstory. Basically, it looks like it's based after the plague, where 95% of the inhabitants of the British Isles faded away, and we are trying to resettle after the plague. So I'm going to pause right here at the beginning and take a little look around at the map. You can see the graphics are pretty simple, which I personally find. I prefer readability over anything too complex. So this is perfectly fine for me. Nice simple shapes, pretty. We got a bit of a sausage fest, and this guy has a real nice mustache. Look at that mustache. All right, so we got all of our stuff on the ground. It looks like we just decided to stop walking here, and we need to get set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay out a zone. These are very common mechanics in these type of games, and you know, there's different variants of these, whether you want it to be a dumping stockpile where waste is stored, or weaponry and armor is specifically stored. You know, you can also refine them once they're laid out too. So I'll maybe do weaponry there, and maybe maybe a little bit away. We can have like a dumping one just to store waste and things a little bit farther away from the citizens. So you can place that down. I don't need this welcome page. I've already kind of read it all. And you can see everyone will go ahead and grab items and move them into the correct storage facility based on item type. You can open these up. You can look through them, tell them, hey, clear all and only keep wood here, for example, and just have a wood stockpile. Things like that. I think it's super important to keep your things organized, so keep that in mind when you're laid out. It looks like we have some starting weapons too, so spear, we got short sword here, short bow, and a little bit of a buckler, which is pretty good. That's like 25% cover. We got a nice sturdy crossbow, 20-meter range. Does it have a bit of a longer range than the fine short bow? Not really a surprise. Short bow over crossbow. Crossbow, I would think, would go farther, but a long bow, I think, goes farther than a crossbow. At least I believe. I could be wrong with that. Other UI things that you guys might want to take note of. Bottom right, there's a lot of tasks things. So we can set up a mine, we can harvest areas, we can chop down trees, which we will need to do to potentially start building. So we'll tell them to chop down trees. We can cut plants back as well. I think I'm going to be building right here anyway, so all this grass can be trimmed. We can harvest mushrooms for some food, right? We do start with some meal packets though, so you might not need that right away. So that's good. Bottom left is more base building itself, so base blocks, which there are more. You have to research production items, furniture, decorative items. Some of these also have kind of subcategory range. So if I hit wall, I can say what type of wall I want on there. Little interesting that they decided to put it in a sub menu, but I think that's fine. I'll talk to building here in a second. Other than that, there's jobs. So jobs. This is very similar to, very similar to like Timber and Stone or really RimWorld. Basically, right now, everyone kind of has the same preference to doing things as everyone else. So what I'm going to do is anyone with a star, I'm going to give them a higher preference to want to do that thing, okay, in the village. That way we can kind of cover those. The people with double stars, I'm going to give them a double arrow. So that's what they will focus on. If someone has a double arrow, I'm going to deprioritize other people from doing that thing because that job is essentially filled. I don't need them to worry about it. And then that's kind of how I set up these type of things. I might, if we gain some more people, I might set one to be a little bit more about hauling materials, but for now I think that's fine. You can schedule them. Scheduling, this is another thing that was kind of, in Timber and Stone. Basically, you have working hours, sleeping hours, any hours, so like recreational hours to help fill their needs. I'm going to fill up to about there, and really we're going to have a bit of a work day like that. Okay, something a little bit more balanced. They can sleep in longer if they want. They can go to bed earlier if they want. They can wake up earlier if they want and eat. But really, they're going to have from about 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. to be working on our tasks. Okay. Research. This is the research tab. I didn't expect this to be a tutorial. I really didn't. Research is unlocking different tech trees throughout everything. Okay. Some of these are in the game. Some of these are not. Like for example, there's some additional features like furniture. But like this one, brewing. We're not really getting into brewing. It's currently beta, and so that's not really implemented. But I'll go ahead and unlock some architecture base stuff there, and we'll talk about that more in detail in just a moment. So I'm gonna let this play for a moment, and while all people kind of go move things around, harvest stuff, chop wood, and get things stored, I'm going to start laying out their first building, because these guys, actually I'm gonna pause, I won't pause. These guys have a lot of things to them, okay? There's a lot of little things about their behavior that you might want to take note of. You know, whether that's their inventory, what they're carrying at the moment, which probably affects their movement speed if they're carrying like really heavy things. Their actual skills, their attributes here, stats, mood, their health, you know, and sleeping outside, for example, might not make them too happy. They might rather sleep inside. So we're gonna be getting them started on a home pretty quickly here. So let's just kind of get to it, right? I'm gonna start with a house that will house 4 people. I'm gonna start with 2 homes maybe that can house 2 people each. That way, if another person ends up joining the village, I don't know how the village growth mechanics kind of work, so we'll just kind of run into that when we do. But that way, if we do grow, we will have room for that one extra person and build a new house at that point. So we go to the base tab. We'll go over, select which type of wall we want. I want my homes to look pretty good. So we're going to use probably stone corner pillars and maybe do like some sort of 5 spaced interior here, and do like a 5 by 9. Okay, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 interior. I like the grid and how everything is very easy to line up through these. But at the same time, I'll get some more feedback on the building in a second. So we'll do stone pillars and then wood walls everywhere else. That's easy. There are tutorials up here on the top right, but I pretty much kind of know what to expect. You can rotate things with R, for example. Pretty standard building stuff. On that note, we'll add windows too. Okay. And let's do furniture. We'll get a couple sleeping spots, and I wouldn't mind like having an actual sub room for the bedroom. Trying to think of the best way to do this. Let's delete these and move them. I'm gonna rotate those 90 degrees or so. Something like that. We get a little stool or something in the corner, and then I think I clicked. My bad. I will say deleting things is a little weird in the game. I'm kind of used to just like holding down a button and getting like a bulldoze or some sort of other option here. Okay. I'm gonna delete this to make room for the door. Because they built the wall first, they're not gonna be able to build that door in there. Let's do window, 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 window. Window back here, just one. You know, maybe we'll have less windows in the bedroom just to make it a little bit more of a secure place. There is combat in the game. You saw the weapons and armor, so we will have to consider that in the long run. We do need stone. So limestone, it looks like we have some over here. So you can see some on the ground. You can always just singular, like kind of, you know, select which ones you want to allow to grab and stuff. And also this is limestone itself. So these type of piles kind of designate the rock type that's beneath it too. So like up here, this is clay, for example, all this kind of dirt stuff. There's some clay here. Looks to be iron. Yeah, okay. I've never messed with iron, so that would be a new thing to take a look at when it gets there. We'll speed up time. Let's speed up time. You can speed up time with 1, 2, and 3. Pretty standard in that regard. Definitely need them to get that bed in there soon so that they can go to bed and sleep. just fine. Let's do a wooden floor in all this. That should be fine. And we'll chop down some trees. Now, when you hover over a resource, it might tell you how much you might get out of it. So this one, roughly 30 wood, roughly 10 sticks. This one, 45 wood, 12 sticks. So you're probably getting more materials out of a mature tree than a dead tree. But I think you get less materials out of a young tree than a mature tree. So, you know, it's a good idea to let those trees mature and get up there. Nice. All right, so while they're doing that, I need to get a thatched roof on this. The roofing tool is pretty basic, pretty straightforward there. So we'll get that. Because it is raining, and I wouldn't mind them to, well, I guess, okay, those guys are just gonna sleep on the floor that's not really covered. Good job, Macus. You've fallen asleep outside. That's okay. The first night, I think I'm fine with them sleeping outside. It's really the second night that I'm more worried about. So while they finish that up, it's nighttime. We have a little while until the next day starts, but we can go ahead and start planning out the second house here. How wide do I want my roads? I'd say 5 wide is fine. I'm gonna offset these just to make it look a little bit more interesting. And this one, I'm going to have a little bit more of an entryway and maybe it's gonna be a bit smaller. You know, thinking about the home scale on this one's a little big, to be honest. I don't think they need to be that big. So I won't have it to be that big. Okay, get that. So all the walls are in. And we could use clay. We could use, you know, a bunch of limestone for the walls. I'm just using wood because it's a pretty easy material for us to get. No, I need these to be windows, not doors. Window, 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 window. Window, window, window. There we go. Make that look nice and homely, right? So this is one of my first complaints about the building system. Again, this could be changed in the future. We are playing a beta game. Let's talk a little bit about the block choices and things and how big they are. I'm used to things like, you know, Rimworld or Timber and Stone or Stone Hearth, right? And I'm going to keep bringing these up because I think they're good references to compare this to. And hopefully, you know, what I'm going to say makes sense. I might even put pictures of some things that I built in those games, so it doesn't look like I'm just talking out of my ass a bit. But what I want to see is building control. And what I mean by that is I want to be able to build a complex structure, and it's easier to do that with smaller, concise pieces. You're gonna see that with this roof line. Like normally I would do a roof line, say specifically on this one, I would do a roof facing this way over the longest axis available, and then a roof facing this way that like partially merged into it. Okay, you can see it doesn't want me to do that to begin with. There's a couple reasons for that. There is a wooden beam item, and what this does, this would allow me to carry this roof over. So if I go back to my thatched roof and I bring this over like that, that's fine. But this little bit here, you can see it's just weird. There's no way for these to automatically merge together and make like valleys in roofing. I find that to be super important for aesthetics. So what I might have to do for this roof is actually delete this. Okay. And I'm gonna have to turn this roof 90 degrees. I don't think it's gonna look as good by doing this, but I think it will at least line up better with this roof design, okay? Normally, you want roof spines to run the length of the building rather than something like this. This doesn't look too bad, again, but you know, it's just a little different. It's a little bit weird to see it more like that, but it'll suffice, I think, just fine. So that'll be the second home, and you know, just kind of go from there. Okay, so while they get working on that, we need probably more wood. You're kind of always going to be in the need for lumber in this game. Not enough beds. Okay, so they're kind of complaining about the beds at this stage, which is reasonable. Definitely reasonable. And you can see I'm spending a lot of time setting up their homes, okay? There's other professions that we're going to be getting into as well, hopefully in the next 10 minutes or so of this episode. But you know me, guys. I want a good build before anything because I'm a crazy person. I might even, let's build maybe a stone porch on this one, right? Maybe we can get a bit of stone coming in between these buildings, almost like a patched cobblestone road. Something like that. I don't know if that's going to provide any sort of bonus to movement speed. Probably won't, but it could. So I think that would look good. So how much thatch we got? We got plenty of thatch. We got some mushroom going, and some homes, some initial homes here. Actually, I need to hide the roofing real quick and put in the floor in the main building. There we go. That'll be good. Nice little door frame getting built up here. But here, what I mean too is with the whole building blocks, like because this is essentially 3 blocks high, you know, I can't do just a 2-block doorway and then do an arch to make this a bit smaller if I wanted to. Having different wall sizes I find to be really important, whether it's a half wall to divide a room or something to build up a foundation, and then you can have something a little bit higher off the ground, you know, or lower off the ground if you just want to dig down one tile. So to me, having smaller building blocks is preferred for these type of things. Though I have a feeling it would affect performance, right? Otherwise, let's go to furniture and we'll put the 2 sleeping spots there. Bit of a doorway in here. Like that. Just to divide the room a little bit. We can go to decoration. We can get a wall sconce kind of put up outside these homes and maybe inside the homes just to provide some light. Which can look good. You know, putting a big flame onto wooden walls, let me tell you. Very, very nice to have. Very, very nice to have. Hopefully they're not really building these in order. I kind of need them to build those items, but I think we might be out of wood. Not enough bed. Villagers are idle. Yes, they are very idle right now. Let's chop some wood. Keep it up on 3 times speed. Botany skill now level 4, so they are getting skills, and they're sleeping outside again. Let's see, mood joyful, neutral. So the guy sleeping outside is actually joyful for some reason, but hey, at least he's not sleeping in the rain today. So that's a bonus, a little bit of an auto save there. All right, so these are the first 2 homes. Let's go ahead and finish the episode by talking a little bit about the professions and how to queue things up, because we're going to need more things than just these shacks, right? We're gonna need tools, we're gonna need equipment, tailoring, cooking, because our food is of short supply and we will need to replace it. Food will also spoil, so it's important to talk about that stuff. So still ×3 speed until about morning when people wake up, and then we'll slow it down again. So if you look at the production tab, there's butchering, campfire, and if you hover over these, they'll give you a nice description. Campfire, it's going to be for cooking. Your basic research table, that's to get research points, so it might be important to have one somewhere, and I might actually, because this room ended up being so big, throw a research table in here, because it can fit. Might as well throw it in there. Some things do get bonuses or decreases if they're not in a building as well, which I like. You know, I think that's a fine system. The wall sconces are being made. The rest of the floor tiles are getting laid down, which is good. I've noticed some things in my other save, by the way, if the devs are watching. If something is on the wall and I try and place something beneath of it, I can't. And then also, if the floor tile doesn't get built here and there's something on the wall already, it might not get built on the floor tile. So I think that's a little bit of a bug, but they can fix that. They can definitely fix that. All right, so while they're still building, let's go ahead and make essentially a carpenter's place. You know, something that looks like it would be for a carpenter. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to pull it off, but I'm going to kind of continue the stone motif here. Make like a little bit of a production area. So like a woodworker's bench and a bowyer's table here. Okay. Throw that down. We'll get a door right there. And how about, no, not that many doors. I don't need 3 doors. How about just like a double window there? So okay, I kind of wish there was like a fence piece that I could kind of backfill in here. And then, you know, maybe just like a 4-wide building, something small. I might be like making these things too big too. I'm not used to the scale of the game, so, you know, getting a good scale can be a little challenging sometimes with these type of things. And then we'll come out back, and this might end up being like a whole bunch of wood storage for us. So if we do some beams in here, kind of like that. I like the beam system. I think that's pretty nifty, for sure. Oh Lord, I messed that up. Again, kind of removing blocks, I think to be a little weird. It's not super fluid to do, but that can be worked on. I don't know how I messed that measurement up when they have lines. You guys were probably like, wow, Uthris, you're using the wrong block and everything. Let's not make everything out of stone, yeah? Alright, there we go, get that. Just switch this back to wood. I think that's a little bit of the issue of having some of the building materials in a sub-menu, in a way. It's very easy to kind of choose the wrong thing. I want a wooden roof on this one, though. And it's just going to be a long boy roof here. Stick the wooden frame back. Because the roof is going to use the frame to essentially sit on. So this is going to be like our carpenter's hut. I would love to do something a little bit more interesting with the roof design, honestly. I don't think there's anything I can do about that, though. Just, again, until some more blocks are probably added. They do have some like half roof pieces, but you can't really, there's no like corner pieces yet. Probably will be eventually here. Let's do maybe a wooden door out the back side. and double window there. And no windows on the side. You kind of never know what might go on the interior. So we'll go default stockpile. This is going to be, what is this, 5? So we'll do 4 by 8, and we'll just clear all and make this specifically a material for wood. So all the wood will get stacked up here. Going forward, we'll also go ahead and make another stockpile and use this one for sticks specifically. And sticks can be stored elsewhere, just probably we'll store all of our wood kind of at the carpentry location. Okay. We can do some decorations, we can do some more wall torches. And then a wooden floor, wooden stone floor, kind of in the workshop area. And I do like the fact that the workshop area is outside, but still covered by a roof. Nice. Okay. Let's display the roofs again, so you guys can kind of see what things are looking like. I like the lighting engine. Everything looks beautiful. So sunset's nice. We haven't done any hunting yet. We haven't really done any cooking yet, but we'll get into the professions, I think, a little bit more on the next episode when we start needing to worry about food and things. So if you guys enjoyed this, definitely subscribe for more creative goodness such as this. Hit that like button. Leave a comment down below on what you guys think of the game. I think it looks pretty good. It has some potential, and I'm excited to see where the development goes. With that, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you again real soon.